The federal trial of former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby begins this week. A look at the charges she faces. 3 Safe Streets employees now on leave after a federal investigation. Tonight, we continue our push for answers from Baltimore's flagship violence intervention program.
These are young men that don't care about our lives or even theirs or even their own.
And Baltimore residents, more of them, voicing frustration with Baltimore's crime levels, why they say the city isn't doing enough to keep them safe.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Bubala. Nearly 2 years after her federal indictment, former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby will be back inside a courtroom, this time for her own trial.
I have done nothing wrong. I will fight these charges with everything I have in me.
Marilyn Mosby has made an obstacle of every part of this trial.
After 3 delays and a successful request to move the trial out of Baltimore, jury selection is set to begin on Tuesday. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost has been following Mosby's legal troubles from the beginning and gives us a look at what's at stake.
Marilyn Mosby, Baltimore's former town prosecutor, will find herself at the defendant's table inside a federal courtroom this week.
Fox 45 has breaking news to bring you right now. We are just getting word that Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby has been federally indicted
in January 2022 while serving as the city's state's attorney.
And we're working to get more information on this federal indictment.
Mosby was indicted on
national headlines just months after she took office when she indicted 6 Baltimore City police officers in the death of Freddie Gray.
We have probable cause to file criminal charges.
The indictments came just days after Gray's death sparked widespread riots across the city. National media praised her decision, including Vogue magazine, while others criticized the indictments, calling them a reckless rush to judgment. In the end, Mosby failed to convict any of the officers. Another controversy Mosby faced involved her frequent speaking engagements, out-of-town travel, and her private business dealings. Though she maintained that she did nothing wrong, she asked City Inspector General Isabel Cumming to investigate.
It's all about accountability and transparency.
The IG found Mosby spent 85 days out of office in 2018 through 2019 and didn't get proper approval for 15 trips. 1 month after that finding, in March of 2021, Mosby stopped enforcing what she calls a low-level crime like drug possession and prostitution to focus on shootings and murders.
Clearly, the data suggests that there is no public safety value in prosecuting these low-level offenses.
Murders remained above 300 every year Mosby was in office. 2021 also brought word that Mosby and her husband were the subjects of a federal probe, with investigators going after a wide range of business and campaign records. She was federally indicted in January of 2022. Following news of the indictment, Fox 45 found Mosby's office was severely understaffed, down more than 80 prosecutors.
They're completely understaffed. They're underwater. They're not able to do their job on a day-to-day basis.
In June 2022, a Baltimore Circuit Court judge wrote an opinion saying the staffing problems in her office led to egregious failures. We have also seen a number of questionable plea deals come from Mosby's office. That includes the case of convicted arsonist Luther Trent.
I shouldn't be out because I could have done a lot more damage than I did.
He was released on a plea deal from Mosby's office after serving less than 6 months in jail. Federal authorities later sentenced him to 12 years in prison. Marilyn Mosby was voted out of office last November.
And there is a pretrial hearing tomorrow in Baltimore, and then jury selection begins Tuesday in Greenbelt. The trial itself is scheduled to start on Thursday. Fox 45 News will be live at the courthouse throughout the trial and bring you updates on air and on foxbaltimore.com as the trial unfolds. Well, Fox 45 News is continuing to demand answers from the mayor's office about Baltimore's flagship violence intervention program, Safe Streets. We're learning 3 workers at the Bel Air Edison location are on leave now following the FBI's investigation of that site. Sources telling Fox 45 News the investigation centers around possible gang affiliation. This past week's developments leading to stronger calls for Safe Streets to shut down.
This could be the moment that people say enough is enough.
And if there's a problem, shut some things down, because you don't want a situation where they're looking into 1 or 2 sites and they find out there's 3 or 4 sites with issues.
2 employees of LifeBridge Health, one of the nonprofits who oversees Safe Streets, also had their homes raided by the FBI. Now, we sent several questions about Safe Streets operations to Mayor Scott, including, are any other Safe Street sites under federal investigation? Is this latest black eye for the program enough to call for a pause in funding and operations of Safe Streets? And will you now release the names of all Safe Streets employees to the public? Monsey says the FBI raid should not diminish the work Safe Streets does on a daily basis. The mayor's office has not yet responded to our questions. The Safe Streets program hires former convicts, but it's not clear how the organization makes sure its employees don't commit more crimes while working for Safe Streets. Authorities say this photo of a Safe Streets worker, Ronald Alexander, appears to show him carrying a bag of suspected drugs while standing outside a Safe Streets location. At the Brooklyn office last year, Safe Streets employee Vernon Harper was named in an indictment accusing him of possessing fentanyl with intent to distribute. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison. And we've also tried on several occasions to get answers from former Monsey director Shantae Jackson about the program. But more than often, she walked away from our questions.
Director Jackson, can I ask you a couple of questions?
I think the mayor said meet us at the next.
Are you going? You have to realize that we have a job and we have the right to ask questions and get information out. Director Jackson, can we talk about the multi-year Safe Streets contracts?
We don't have any comment today.
I know that you announced your resignation. You're planning to leave. Can you say where you plan to go?
Let me stop right here.
Okay.
Never, ever will I prioritize any news about me over top of news about our young people.
That's why I didn't
so
ask
we
during
can
the
save
press
that question for a time when I'm ready to share it. Thank you.
Well, our investigation found Safe Streets spent more than $5,000 at major shoe stores in April, $4,000 at stores like GameStop, Bath & Body Works, and Walmart. Records show the agency spent $2,500 in COVID relief money to take workers to Los Angeles. Now many city leaders are calling for an audit of Monsey and Safe Streets.
I think an audit does need to be done.
Transparency is key. If you have people that are benefiting from tax dollars, then there should be some accountability there.
And that brings us to our question of the day. Do you think Mayor Scott is being transparent about the Safe Streets program? So far, 89% of people who voted say no. You can make your voice heard right now at foxbaltimore.com/vote. Well, 2 people were shot this afternoon in Baltimore, including a 17-year-old girl. She was shot along Penrose Avenue just before 1:30. Police say she was hit in the left arm and taken to the hospital. About 15 minutes earlier, a 33-year-old man was shot on Graceland Avenue in southeast Baltimore. He was also taken to the hospital. Both victims are expected to survive. Now, anybody with information is asked to call Metro Crime Stoppers. That number 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. Now, newly obtained surveillance video showing the moment a man was robbed on his way to work at Johns Hopkins University. It is just the latest in a string of robberies throughout the city in recent weeks, leaving residents on edge. Fox 45's Vincent Hill spoke to a witness to that robbery and the victim. He joins us live now with more on their stories and what happened. Vincent?
Yeah, Mary, you said it, a string of robberies, all with the same pattern. The latest right here on this corner, all captured on video.
Butchers Hill neighborhood, 6 o'clock Saturday morning.
I was scared. I had behind this tree line here.
Surveillance video capturing a robbery in progress, leaving this Butcher Hill resident frozen in fear.
I was hoping my dogs didn't bark. I kept on telling them to shh.
Just across the street, a blue Hyundai approaches an unsuspecting victim.
He was backing up and he was pleading with an individual in a hoodie.
The suspects demanding the victim's phone.
I just heard 3 times, "Give me your code. Give me your code."
When it was over, the witness rushing to the victim's aid.
It was a blue Hyundai, right? Okay, I'm gonna call the police.
The suspects, according to the resident,
The size built was small. They couldn't have been older than 12, 13 maybe.
Meanwhile, in the Mount Vernon neighborhood last Wednesday,
oh, they were baby-faced. You could see through the mask, through the general area around the eyes. They were kids.
This victim, not wanting to show his face, robbed at knife point after being approached by a gold SUV.
They were able to corner me off, and from there they demanded my phone, my wallet, and my jacket.
Fox 45 showed him this video of a robbery in Fed Hill 2 days after his.
That gold SUV looks very familiar. That looks like it.
In that case, a woman walking her dog punched in the face and her phone stolen. The horrific video leaving this victim with a message to city leaders.
If the city doesn't figure out an action plan soon, these taxpayer dollars are going to vote with their feet.
And a sense of anger from the latest witness to Baltimore's crime crisis.
We are frustrated. We want the city, we want our mayor to do something about this. This is scary and it's getting very serious because these are young people. These are young men that don't care about our lives.
And right now, no word on any arrest. The victim I spoke with was able to track his phone to a house in East Baltimore. He gave that information to Baltimore police. For now, we're live in Butchers Hill. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Vincent, thank you. Well, hundreds gathering at Penn Station in Baltimore in support of Israel. Their message as the war rages on in the Middle East.
Who's behind the groups planning the protests across America? I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at that complicated question.
And a risk of some showers coming our way for tomorrow if you're headed to the pumpkin patch. Last minute action, getting those pumpkins for Halloween. It looks like maybe a few light showers, 1, 4, and 7. Mild temperatures, but notice that drop off late in the day. Oh, that's the beginning of things to come. I'm going to let you know how cold this is going to get for Halloween. My Weather Authority forecast.
Israel! Baltimore loves Israel! You hear that, Baltimore?
Hundreds of Israeli supporters gathering at Penn Station this afternoon to display solidarity with Israel and its war against Hamas. They say the people of Israel have been going through unimaginable hardships, and now is a time for unity.
This is a holy place. We stand for our brothers and sisters. We stand for Israel. We stand for what's right. Look around. Years from now, when this is a bad memory, we'll look back at this day with pride and remember how we stood up for what's right for our people.
Representatives from more than 24 schools and synagogues came to show their support, including some groups as far as York, Pennsylvania. Well, tonight, the war appears to be expanding with more world leaders taking sides. This comes as Israel says it entered a new phase of war. National correspondent Christine Frizzau explains.
This was the scene in New York's Grand Central Station Friday, the site of one of hundreds of protests that have popped up across the country, from college campuses to big cities, to smaller ones like Des Moines, Iowa. The protests are organized to show support for the Palestinian people and to call for a ceasefire. But critics say some who come out sympathize with Hamas.
The college campuses are being taken over. And all of the resident aliens who joined in the pro-jihadist protest this month, nobody's ever seen anything like it. Come 2025, we will find you and we will deport you.
This photo of bulldozers breaking into Israel to conduct the October 7th massacre of more than 1,400 Israelis posted on Instagram by Adallah Justice Project, a group funded through the Tide Center, which according to Influence Watch has received millions of dollars from the progressive billionaire donor George Soros. This photo from a recent protest in Bryant Park, where more than 100 people were arrested, posted by the community organizing group DRUM, Desist Rising Up and Moving, also a recipient of thousands of dollars from George Soros-linked groups, according to an investigation in the New York Post. While free speech and peaceful protest are two bedrocks of our democracy here in the United States, there are new concerns that those protests could be helping to fuel a rise in anti-Semitic incidents, which have gone up here by nearly 400%.
This is something that is terrifying our children. It's something that is instilling fear in all of our communities collectively.
Fears unlikely to subside as a controversial war intensifies. I'm Christine Frizzau reporting.
Well, Fox 45 News is partnering with Magen David Adom for Sinclair Cares Humanitarian Relief for Israel. The organization is the Red Cross affiliate providing emergency medical aid for all people in Israel. To help, you can scan that QR code you see right there on your screen, or you can go to sinclaircares.com.
Well, after all those warm temperatures, we are now getting into the transition zone, which means some showers, some clouds, and the temperatures gradually beginning to fall off. And then you're going to notice a big difference. It actually starts to enter, I think, tomorrow late in the day, and then especially tomorrow night. And by Halloween, it's a whole other story. You see here at Chestertown, there is one little shower kind of came through Severna Park, portions of Anne Arundel County, just south of the city. More showers off to the north and west. We may be primarily done with the rain. And there wasn't a whole lot today for the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, but there could be a stray shower almost at any time, I think, all the way through just prior to sunrise. Then this band of showers, and then look at what's on the other side. You have the blue, that's snow. Not going to be seeing that around here, but these showers, they are going to be moving east and getting here likely tomorrow afternoon. You see behind them the snow. Yes, that means cold air. That is going to get here, the cold, by Halloween and beyond. Temperature at 64 right now. We have clouds, winds out of the east and northeast at 8 miles an hour. A little bit cooler today than we saw during the first half of the weekend and late last week. We still made it to 74, which is way above average. Humidity 73%. Toyota Chino Harbor Skycam again kind of shrouded in clouds. A little bit cooler to the north where the cooler air resides, up over the northeast all the way down into Pennsylvania. So we've got a 58 at Cockeysville, 57 at Bel Air, 59 at Westminster. Farther south you get, the deeper into the warmer air that you get as this warm front is just kind of straddling the Mason-Dixon line. Continues to push gradually north, so that means we stay in the milder air tonight and tomorrow morning, tomorrow midday, and much of tomorrow afternoon. Then the blue line, that's our next weather maker. Cold front swings through. Showers least a few develop tomorrow afternoon. I think it's light stuff. And then the snow streaks off into Canada, but the colder air, it's going to slug in by tomorrow night. Could have the first couple of widespread frosts of the season this week. So temperatures right now, again, it's a tale of two seasons across the country. You kind of split it up right around St. Louis. East, temperatures in the 60s to around 70. West, temperatures freezing and below. Got about a foot of snow across portions of the Denver metro this weekend. So that's how cold it was. We are going to get some of that chill here. Now, out in the tropics, there's a 40% chance of tropical development, which is actually down over the next several days. It's right near the Bahamas. That's going to move north, and they get picked up by that cold front that's going to be coming through here and getting pushed off out to sea, whatever it becomes. And then there's a low chance of development that could be pushing across the Caribbean, but that's going to have no impact on us, even if it does become anything. So, future scan overnight into early tomorrow morning. There's a couple of those light showers through shortly after midnight, then starts pretty dry but mild tomorrow morning. Tomorrow early afternoon, back well into the 70s. That may be a little overdone. I think we'll be in the mid 70s tomorrow. And there are those showers I was talking about that move through tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening, followed by much chillier air. Tonight, 57, lots of clouds. Could see a couple of showers through, especially shortly after midnight. 74 showers return tomorrow afternoon. Should be fairly light. Much cooler for Halloween. 50 to 55, falling into the 40s during trick-or-treat time. Blustery and chilly on Wednesday. And then a nicer warm-up as we head towards the end of the week and the weekend. Temperatures back into the 60s. More coming up in a couple of minutes.
The Baltimore City Fire Union releasing details on memorial services for Lieutenant Dylan Ronaldo, one of two firefighters who died following a row home fire in northwest Baltimore earlier this month. There will be viewings at Duda Ruck Funeral Home in Dundalk on Wednesday and Thursday. The funeral is scheduled for Friday at the Cathedral of Mary Our Queen on Charles Street in Baltimore. Well, as the war in the Middle East continues, the U.S. is facing a crisis within our own military. How the Pentagon is working to keep enlisted numbers up amid a record low level of interest. For decades, the U.S. military has consistently met recruiting goals using only volunteers. Until now, 2023 has been the toughest year for recruiting since the draft ended 50 years ago. Full Measure, Shell Atkinson looks into what the Pentagon is doing to fix it.
At North Stafford High School in Virginia, the Army is here to impress. The mission, to get more high school students thinking about a career in the U.S. military. America's current all-volunteer military force was built starting at the end of the Vietnam War in 1973. The military has always met its recruiting goals. That is, until last year. In 2022, the Army fell short 15,000 recruits, about 25% of its goal of 60,000. And for 2023, 3 of 5 military branches are on track to miss their recruiting numbers. We headed to America's military headquarters, the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, to hear from Brigadier General Pat Ryder.
It's obviously a very competitive environment right now in terms of recruiting talent, but we are actively employing a variety of methods to try to recruit the best that America has to offer to fill our ranks.
Not wanting to leave family and friends is a top reason why young people say they might avoid a military career, according to an Army survey. Also high on the list, worries about post-traumatic stress disorder, and most of all, fear of death. As far as videos used to make a military career seem appealing, this one has more than 8 million views. Midshipmen at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, starred in Naptown Funk. Maverick, the 2022 sequel to Top Gun, did its share of inspiring would-be Air Force recruits with macho man excitement. But the military is also trying a controversial new approach. The Navy using an active-duty drag queen as a digital recruiting ambassador.
It's a full-court press across a variety of means and methods.
Senator Joni Ernst was a lieutenant colonel in the Iowa National Guard.
There are many other reasons that we can't recruit. A lot of our young people aren't qualified for military service. Things such as physical health, mental health, even police records.
Is there concern that this could actually, though, have an impact if we can't find qualified candidates and we're looking 5-10 years down the road?
I do have a concern that this will impact readiness.
While we do have some recruiting challenges, our retention right now in the U.S. military is at an all-time high. And so in terms of our ability to protect the nation, we are very confident that we will continue to be able to do what we need to do to defend our nation, to protect our interests, and to be ready to go to war if we're called to do that.
At last check, the Army, Navy, and Air Force were about 24,000 below recruiting goals, with the Marines and Space Force on track or slightly ahead. For Full Measure, I'm Cheryl Atkinson.
Well, the Ravens pick up their 3rd straight win to improve to 6-2 on the year. The good and bad from the team's trip to the desert. That's coming up next in Sports Unlimited. The World Series is all tied up at a game apiece as the series shifts to Arizona for Game 3 tomorrow night. You can catch all the action between the Diamondbacks and the Rangers starting at 8 right here on Fox 45. And that's all for the news at 10. I'm Mary Bubala. Thanks so much for watching. Morgan Adsett and Rocco DeSangro join us now with Sports Unlimited. Morgan and Rocco.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Coming up tonight on Sports Unlimited, the Ravens go out west and pick up a big win and first 3-game winning streak of the season, Morgan.
Yep, they improved to 6-2, just like all division leaders in the AFC.
While the win was good, it didn't come without some bad. After one of their best offensive games of the season, some inconsistencies from Lamar and company in the desert.
Defensive
was on another level. While the Browns and Steelers cool down, don't look now, but the Cincinnati Bengals are beginning to heat up. We'll look at the AFC North and where things currently stand. That's coming up next on Sports Unlimited. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Sports Unlimited. She's Morgan Adsett. I'm Rocco DeSangro. 75% of the AFC North out west for Week 8, Morgan.
Yeah, and that would include the Ravens trying to avoid the trap game against one-win Arizona. The Cardinals, while they tease the return of starting quarterback Kyler Murray from knee surgery, the Ravens once again seeing a QB2 on Sunday. To Arizona we go. Ravens defense a little flat to start. Two huge ball coming out, called a fumble. We've seen this before. Cards recover. After review, he was throwing, so Jackson bailed out.
Our guys, coming across country and all the things we've been dealing with as far as that, not playing, we weren't great. We weren't really as crisp and sharp as we wanted to be by any stretch. And yet we kept grinding, we kept fighting, and found a way to get the job done.
In the NFL, a win is a win is a win. Don't get me wrong. And the credit to the Ravens for getting it done, but
a win is a win, but I feel like we need to put more points on the board. We was punting the ball a lot this game. We didn't do it last week, but it's the NFL. Sometimes things might not go